What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the LCS. We've got Shopify Rebellion up against Dignitas in game number 3. Dgon here alongside Kobe to break down all the action as we hop straight on in to draft, Kobe.
Let's go! Dgon on the LCS desk!
I'm trying to pretend like it's cool. Yeah, it's normal. It's normal. Yeah.
I was here when you first came over. Happy to be here for your play-by-play. Shopify versus Dignitas, though. This is a hype one, especially because Insanity has been basically, I would say, our best cook in the LCS as far as champions go. He has a very deep champion pool, and a lot of coaches feel like it's very difficult to ban him out. You know, if you're throwing mid lane bans, it's almost like throwing them into the ocean here because, you know, he's had the Sion mid, of course. He had the Zac mid, but he also has some DPS picks for mid that he hasn't shown. They're not all tank champions.
Right. And, you know, one of the things that happens when you are a little bit too spicy of a chef, Chef Chalet, happens to then use too many ingredients. And then maybe you get a little bit in trouble because there's some core ingredients you need. Generally, when you're cooking, you need salt, you need pepper, and then maybe some garlic, and then you can go from there. You always wonder that with Insanity, but for us, we celebrate the diversity that it brings in the champion role.
Love it, love it. Katarina probably not going to get locked in. That's eXyu. Shout out to his girlfriend, as he normally does. And they are going to lock in the bottom lane here, rounding out Varus plus Renata. I would say lock that one in. It's very, very good. You need to deny the Renata to the Kalista. It's just such an insane pairing when you get to play an aggressive bottom lane like Renata Kalista, and then you get to draft aggressive melee champs around that as well. So really good job there by Dignitas stealing that Renata away and pairing it with the Varus themselves.
Yeah, behind the chef of Insanity, Revan is always down to mix up the draft. I had the chance to interview him earlier. He said, "This is my team. I got to handpick all 5 of these players." And so I think with that, he's leaning in to what they like to do. So going here with the Maokai and the Senna. So we got Senna Kalista here to counter that bottom side of the map for Dignitas.
Yeah, very interesting here. Maokai is such a good hard engage, really long range, wide ultimate here. And they're going to have a very aggressive bottom lane double range matchup versus double range matchup. Could get spicy down there. Sometimes it's hard to stack up the Senna Souls in those double range matchups because it's a little bit more dangerous when you're trying to go for your poke on your opponents. But Shopify have the confidence there. BVOY and Zeyzal have worked pretty well together. We saw just last week, BVOY, big part in that win over Cloud9 for Shopify. Looks like Dignitas might be going for some melee solo lane picks since they got an early Sejuani pick here. That Sejuani jungle, although it is not in the strongest spot right now that it has been in history, it is still always so good if you're planning on going with some very aggressive solo lane melee matchups here. So we'll see about the bans trying to protect some of those possible picks. We mentioned chefs in the kitchen. Rich for Dignitas was one of the biggest chefs as well for top lane picks, really making good use out of counter pick. And since Dignitas are on red side, we expect some top lane bans and then saving that red side final counter pick quite possibly for Rich himself.
Yeah, Rich up against FakeGod, who made his name here on Dignitas back in 2021. Had himself a pretty good spring split, fell off there, and then found his way back on here 3 years later with Shopify Rebellion. We've got Corki as the ban. Corki just has been relatively strong. We've made the memes earlier in the bingo cards. Azir Corki. So that one getting taken away here, but a lot of focus in the mid lane.
Yeah, always kind of scary too if you're looking at a Varus early pick, it being paired with Corki, because then you have to deal with AP poke damage from the Corki and the lethality Varus poke damage, and that can sometimes be overwhelming in the mid game. See what Dignitas want to round this out with. Another mid lane ban. So they ban away all the AD mid laners since Maokai jungle is usually paired with one of these 2 AD mid laners, the Jace or the Tristana. And so Dignitas to try and double ban Insanity. I will say though, Insanity, like I said, he has played Graves mid. He has a lot of other mid lane champions, so we'll see how far they push this guy.
Yeah, potential 7 bans given the fact where you put Karma, where you put Brand. 7 bans that could be focused here in the mid lane between these 2 players. And then Yone as well, mostly seen top, but can be played mid lane as well. So 8 kind of flex bans here. The focus is very clear between both these squads.
All right, Dignitas. I'm expecting a Dove pick here because Dove has been much more of a generalist for Dignitas. And just try and pick him some AP threat here from mid lane. and save the counter pick for Rich. Taliyah, interesting, because Taliyah buffs were announced, but they're not coming in until next patch next week, even though we will be the first to receive them on the live patch here. They are not in the game yet, so this is pre-buff Taliyah on PvE. They are currently toying around with some. It is a very active mid lane champion, though. Really want to see if they can actually get down to that bottom lane.
Yep.
Oftentimes, ever since the new season was released and they changed bottom lane, it's about how many ganks and how many roams can you send on down there. So see if they can snowball that. And you're put in the place here for FakeGod, where versus Dig versus your old organization here, you're forced to blind pick.
Yeah. That's pretty tough, especially when Dignitas is showing like, hey, lots of CC here with Varus, hostile takeover with Renata, and then you've got the ult coming in for Sejuani, then Weaver's Wall down onto wherever that fight is at, and it's just, you're gonna pop someone, try to use the numbers advantage here for Dig.
All right, Insanity. What's it gonna be?
What we got, Chef Chalet?
Is he gonna cook?
He's cooking.
They do need some DPS here. This team is looking pretty light as far as having K'Sante and Maokai both there. I'm expecting a full tank Maokai.
Oh!
All right, he's still in there. Garen got buffs on this patch. Thank you, production. We are on 14.2, so we have the Garen buffs in. Those were extended level 1 duration of the W buff. It's now 4 seconds at all ranks. It is extremely annoying, and he got some DPS buffs. Speaking of the DPS, to his spin to win. So it could be Insanity K'Sante. It could even be Insanity Garen, depending on the matchups that we see here. And with the Gnar locked in, they can definitely still swap it either way.
Yeah, we're getting a little excited here. We're hoping that it's Chef Chalet cooking it with the Garen in the mid lane, but it could.
It definitely could. They could swap it. Generally, when production makes those calls, though, I trust them. So let's say he's keeping his hands on the Garen here. And though I really think, wow, it's always nice to get the extra damage on your spin to win move. The durability provided by the W, the courage from Garen is such a big deal. And it being available for a long duration so early on, I think, is going to be the real tipping point here. Because especially if you play Garen in mid lane, a lot of the early parts are about soaking damage. You don't have to trade as much health for, minion wave control and getting that CS. And he can always back off it and heal back up. So we shall see. Mid lane is so nice in the new season with it made so much more wide open, moving back the brush. Does feel like you have a lot more space to play, despite junglers still trying to give it some attention.
Yeah, final pick there was Gnar on the top side of the map for Rich. So Rich will be rolling with that one. When we take a look at these compositions here, I think the thing that that points at me is Shopify Rebellion putting the eggs in the basket down on the Kalista here. But because we got to see early on, BVOY came on in, played 2 games of Varus, didn't have a lot of help because there was constantly like a new deer or something tanky on him and had to like always kite away. But now with Kalista, with Senna, wanting to get aggressive early on, I'm excited to see what he can do now that they've had a couple weeks of practice with this AD carry on in after having to use Wild Turtle early on.
All right, we've got confirmation from the stats team. This is the first ever in top 4 major regions of a Garen mid being played. It was played in the PCS, but this is the first ever for a top 4 major region play. Insanity pulling out the Garen. It is Flash Ghost Garen, as assumed, for the extra mobility to have the full effect here. And Garen can just become so annoying with the mobility and with the one-shot potential. Q damage into spinning and ultimate execute here. You really have to respect it. Also, since Garen doesn't rely on dashes, he's one of these older champions, just likes to run around real fast, some good move speed. The Taliyah rocks don't provide as much of an issue for him, and he has a pretty good time of dodging away from seismic shove, unless, Sejuani is hard CC setting up the Taliyah. So I actually do really like this pick. Yet again, this is not just Insanity being weird for laughs. I actually think this is very positive. It is a very melee heavy and short range team comp for Shopify, but they're used to running comps like this. Obviously, last weekend, you got a little taste of it there as well. And it is backed up by a very strong bottom lane here with Kalista plus Senna on the bottom side. That Senna healing and those Senna ultimates coming across the top of this top side 3 beefy melee champions can be very, very devastating, especially in the mid game after you get an item each for these champions.
Yeah, and if you're Tomo, it's, well, if I'm going lethality, who's going to help me with all these tanky boys as the game gets later on? And as you said, buffing in the mid game for Shopify Rebellion. Very, very nice draft here by them.
Yeah, I'd say if it's anything other than a Leandries for Dove, he's gonna hear about it. if it is not Leandries when you're facing a Cassante Maokai Garen, then we got some issues.
Yeah, someone's got to burn him as we get ourselves into game number 3 of the Super Week as SR takes on Dig here. And they set themselves on up. Just early start, no shenanigans. Just playing the line of defense with Zeyzal and Bugi. They know. And with the map being a little bit bigger, it feels very risky when you go into the other side jungle if they're waiting. It's a much longer way to get back to your side of the brush.
Yeah, the distance it's here on the bottom side especially, they're just going to power on through. They bully their way in. They're going to start on blue quadrant here of Dignitas territory. And this, I love this because you are faced with this quad range bottom lane. A big part of choosing to split the map like this, having your jungler take away blue quadrant from Dignitas, is to allow this Kalista Senna side to know for sure that they're the ones with jungle advantage and to really be able to push it. On the other side of the map, you know, Rich, with the Gnar into Cassante, like, it might help a little bit, but it looks like they're trying to retake this blue quadrant. eXyu's coming over.
Yeah, eXyu a little late. We'll use
bring around the Rosie.
Hop on over, and they don't see him. It's 2 ships of the night. They'll pass right on by.
So he does secure Gromp, and he is down here. Oftentimes for red side jungle is really tough to play because you know you do have to defend your bottom lane from these types of plays. Swoops on over. They're going to be able to catch first wave and bounce.
Yeah, the scary moment of the wave crashing, knowing that the opposing jungler somewhere around has passed. So Tomo and Isles can finally farm safe, start pushing back, and start trading on up.
All right, so this means we're going to have a full reverse clear now for Bugi, heading all the way up towards top side of the map. Doesn't look like Zeyzal and BVOY are having any issue getting this one in either. And let's check in on that spicy pick, shall we, in the mid lane? So far, doing quite well here for Insanity. Of course, definitely going to go with the Doran Shield here for the mid lane. Still always going Conqueror there for Garen, trying to stack that up. And it looks like he has opted for Overgrowth and Conditioning.
So getting the extra HP as minions die around.
Got plenty of sustain in his passive, so doesn't need any of the extra sustain, and goes for the longer term, the health stacking benefit later on.
Yeah, no TP though, so he needs neither laner with TP in the mid lane, so has to keep an eye on that and stay healthy enough that he can continue to farm on up.
Yeah, no second wind to rely on, no problem so far. Looks like on top side as well, eXyu up here is going to be able to use that Gnar pushing in the top lane priority that you see Rich having up there to be able to take away a blue buff.
Yeah, so an elongated trade of the blue buffs early on as Bugi and the rest of Shopify did go steal the one away. It just stayed up for such a long time. Kind of weird blue buff timing.
Yeah, looks like eXyu will also be king of the Gromps though, because he got his own Gromp. As well as the Shopify Rebellion Gromp. And they've got a nice dive timing here. FakeGod's out of mana. Still is a Cassante though.
Yeah, eXyu thought about it. We'll start the recall, and I think they're just going to feel better about, hey, let's just put some pressure on. Let's get the timer. Let's get back on the map. And start figuring out if we want to go for the Void Grubbies or head on over to the first straight.
Luckily for Cassante, his W only costs 40 mana. And of course, the Q only 24 as well, so no problems for him. A little bit of a deficit to the Gnar early on with the early pushing and harassment of the range and the hyper, but not too bad.
As things stay neutral here, Zeyzal able to stack up the souls, as Senna always does, continuing to get one right there and increase the range, get the crit down, the extra crit for every 20 souls that he stacks on up. But so far, both junglers just kind of hovering around, as we've seen a lot in this patch. It's a lot of hovering unless it's a very clear engage angle.
Yeah, and now since we're breaking 5 minutes and Dragon is up, with both junglers heading down here, Bugi takes away the control ward, puts up the saplings, already has the scuttle crab, so really big vision advantage for Shopify here, leading up towards Dragon. And since they are the one with the Kalista, should have a pretty easy time starting it up. Look at this really deep vision. Chase him out, and eXyu should probably just head on over to the Grubs since he's the one with the pushing top side, and trade neutral objectives. This is definitely the plan that Shopify wanted, the trade that they wanted, but they're not actually going to trade. eXyu comes back.
Yeah, eXyu coming back and now forcing Bugi off. Insanity looking to join as well. Both Dove and Insanity level 6. That's a lot of the damage there.
So they do delay the Dragon, and it releashes. They do chase Bugi off. But it's still pretty scary since Insanity with Flash, Ghost, and Ultimate available on the Garen could easily solo somebody out. Very dangerous with that mid lane pick priority. The vision, though, was retaken. So nice little kind of counter there from Dignitas.
Yeah, and I kind of like that from Dignitas because not only do you have the wards there, but it's the saplings and that kind of control area that Maokai puts down. By poking your head on in there, stopping it, you're kind of now taking away that advantage they created.
I would think that it should still just be a delayed trade since the matchups that are to your advantage for Dig, top lane by far with the Gnar. So eXyu does head over here and eventually is going to try and trade Grubs for the Dragon priority, since Maokai is moving back in there and the Kalista is heading right back to lane. But it is always super nice to have Grubs early when you've got something like a Gnar into K'Sante matchup for the top side. See if you can get that extra turret plate money. You see, even before the Grubs were taken, Rich had already taken a single turret plate. So now it's going to make that Gnar's life even easier, trying to get the most out of this 5-pick counter on top side and trying to get a little bit more gold for himself. Meanwhile, since he only took 2 Grubs, you don't get the global alert, and just leaving the last one here as the unwanted Eddie.
Yeah, I kind of wonder, is Dignitas going to get a little greedy and start to try and fight for this Drake here by leaving that notification down? And yes, they know that Bugi cleared out one of the control wards by blue. Coming down is eXyu, but he will be a little late, so Drake will be traded on over. Shopify will take that one. So a 2 Void Grub for 1 Drake stolen on over. Bit of trading right now as Tomo and BVOY going in. Snare landing onto Tomo. And fake calls and pulls Zeyzal back.
It has started to become a bit more common because it does take so much less time and you don't get the global alert. And if you take the first 2 Grubs, then with the respawn timers for 4 minutes later for those 2 earlier ones, and then the original one just sitting there, unless your opponents like rush over really quickly, it is almost impossible, or it is actually impossible for them to get 5. And so you are set up in a scenario where once those 2 do respawn, you can get 5 for the extra Void Might, but your opponents cannot still, and the Dragon does end up going over. eXyu, though, with the ultimate ready here for Sejuani.
Oh, it might be prison time here for BVOY and Zeyzal. They're working their way back, but Weaver's wall cutting off not all the way. There's the cleanse. BVOY hops over the wall, but Zeyzal's stuck, and it's first blood heading over to Tomo, picking that one up on Varus.
Good early move here from Dignitas, going right through enemy jungle behind Dragon. Very efficient move from them, and since eXyu did not even have to use Sejuani ultimate, they still have that possibility, so still some more threat.
They're hovering right now. BVOY just trying to get this one out.
The cooldown there should be, the cooldown should be, I think that's a bug on the overlay. Because I remember it was used, right? Yeah.
BVOY will get to farm this one up. Got to see him with the Ghosts, and Dignitas will take their lead there. You got to see one of the issues with Insanity and Garen. Can't roam as fast. In fights, definitely can flash, Ghost, and ult on top of someone, but in these larger rotations, Weaver's Wall will beat almost anything other than maybe, TF Port.
Yeah, really good roam there. Bottom focus. First blood going over to Tomo. Feels so nice for him. And he is going with the Blade of the Ruin King build, not going with the lethality, of course. As we talked about, him going lethal tempo and not going with the hail of blades.
Yep.
It's a very, very tanky front line. Definitely makes sense to go for the on-hit build.
And right now the solo lanes with the range advantage going as expected. You got the gold lead on the top side for Rich. You've got the gold lane in the mid lane for Dove, plus a plate so far here for Rich. And Dove close to getting another one as eXyu gonna take a peek here in mid. Gets caught on out by Insanity, but clearing out wards, and eXyu continuing the pressure down on the bottom side. There comes ultimate by Tomo, catching out BVOY. BVOY flashing, auto-attacking his teammate. Dawning Shadows keeps BVOY alive for a little bit longer, but here comes the Glacial Prison. He's putting time out, and BVOY gets taken down by eXyu. From range, here comes the Nature's Grasp, trying to hold Dignitas in place. Dig dives and gets one with Dove. Zeyzal is the one taken out, but Demacian Justice has been dished by Insanity. Overall, a 2-for-1 for Dignitas. A little late on the rotation by Shopify, and they pick it on up.
Yeah, Shopify trying to get something back for themselves, and Insanity finally does get one. Ghost keeping him in range, using the flash, ultimate. To just try and keep that money kind of close, but Dig pretty happy with it. Now we get the ultimate over.
All out by FakeGod after being stuck under the tower, wanting to deal some damage back to Rich. Over the wall, Rich starting to get a little angry, seeing if he can get the Gnar bar going. Very low, but FakeGod wins it. And it's a 1-for-1, or one solo kill on the top side of the map.
Solo bolo there for FakeGod. The abusive Gnar so often, and yet he's able to get the angle on the wall here. They get the flash down for Rich as well. Bugi comes over to pick up the remaining grub.
Yeah.
And
there's the global.
There you go. But honestly, FakeGod here, really nice stuff from him on the solo. Here's another look at the repeat for bottom lane. Sejuani again, taking the same path behind Dragon, rotates on over. Taliyah following as well. So much chunk damage, though, onto BVOY, starting it out.
Yeah, dodged the hail of arrows, but then gets caught with the Glacial Prison here from the backside.
Yep, ultimate came back off cooldown. So easy setup there for the W, finish him up with the W. And then they try and get it back, Maokai ultimate under tower. But it's just going to be Insanity chasing down Tomo because Dove and eXyu, they were able to get the other kill. They took down Zeyzal as well and are able to exit out of the back.
Yeah, did require Flash and Ghost here for Insanity to get in there, but you're starting to see the power of Garen once he's in the fight. If you get in there early, he can get onto the back line. Tomo, if he's already used Chains of Corruption, doesn't have a lot of ways on out, has to rely on Isles for the handshake.
All right, overall game plan here, though, still remains the same. With Dragon number 2 up, Shopify already trying to retake that vision control, see if they can actually keep this stacking going.
Oh, eXyu saying, hey, Bugi, this is mine. I've set it up. I know you got saplings, but in the bush. We're in the river right now. Bugi punches him out into the bush, takes a bit of sapling damage. Glacial Prison used their, like a little early.
I think he was hoping that Dove was a little bit closer, but Dove was not in range for the combo there, so it's just a little bit of damage, and you're not going to have that setup for the seismic shove this time around.
Oh, Nature's Grasp coming on in. Weaver's Wall trying to block off the rest of the team. There is no exit for Shopify, so they will force their way on in. TPs have been channeled, and now we've got ourselves a 5v5, and it looks like Dig's just going to back on up.
Yeah, even though Rich also does come, Mini Gnar teleporting in is not gonna help you out with that fight nearly as much as FakeGod coming in. Cassandre with Iceborne Gauntlet done. After already have gotten the solo kill, his ultimate was ready. Mini Gnar not really going to be the impactful arrival that you want it to be, and so Shopify are able to stick to that game plan. They've got the Dragon number 2 down here. Hex picked up despite the early couple of roams on bottom lane and the couple of kills that were successful for Dignitas.
Yeah, and again, I kind of go back to that Glacial Prison by eXyu. It was a nice Weaver's Wall by Rich. I think he might have wanted to cut off the rest of the team so that the damage wasn't there. He cut off the exit, but then Shopify calmly said, hey, we have control of this. A lot of the CC ults are already down, and we'll just take that one there as now Dignitas focus their sights onto the Herald on the top side of the map.
All right, resetting, having both bottom lanes meet back up here in the top lane now. Finish up their mirroring. No teleports able to disrupt anything going on up here, so just picked up the Rift Herald and shove on in for Tomo and Isles. Infernal Rift is actually one of my favorite changes, being able to go around and pick up these little cinders for the extra cooldown reduction. But also just the fact that it turns everyone into these pinatas and makes every death more exciting, having them all spurt out.
Little explosions right around. And remember, early on, the cooldown reduction was half, right? And
Yeah,
so now
0.3, now it's 0.6.
Yeah, they doubled it here so that you can, it feels better than just the little pinata as well as the speed boost you get when you pick them on up.
Yeah.
We've seen across multiple regions. That's been an escape tool. It's like, okay, I've got a little cinder here to get myself out to safety. See if it plays here as we look towards the Infernal Rift. eXyu peeking towards blue buff, seeing if you could find anything, and nope. Nothing too much quiet on yet as top lane has flipped on over. So top's now on the bottom side, and the bot laners have head on over to the top, and it's just a lot of positioning right now. Dignitas trying to find ways where they can use their layered CC, pick one, maybe two off, and then try to use those numbers advantage.
All right, and they're going to charge right into mid lane here. Because they did get the early 2 Void Grubs, they get a few extra mites out of this. Trying to help them finish it off, and they almost do.
Yeah, they do. Dawning Shadows goes on in. FakeGod now trying to buy some time. Hostile takeover doesn't hit anyone, but makes a lot of space, and FakeGod gets taken on down. Bugi forced to run, and Dignitas, they just clump on up and death ball their way into a kill.
Yeah, nice little extra kill here for Dignitas. Happy with that one. Too far ahead there for FakeGod, and it's so hard trying to engage into his Renata teams, especially with Varus ultimate backing up too. Makes it hard for your team to always follow up, and so if you're not choosing the exact right moment and you don't have really good placement for your teammates, sometimes you do end up just giving over that extra kill.
Yeah, and hostile takeover, just such a wide range, just right down the whole lane, and you saw everyone from Shopify either go left or go right, but no one was going forward to join FakeGod. So they're gonna have to figure out how they want to fight these team fights if it's just out in the open like that.
Yeah, that's why you always have to be really cognizant of your opponent's like counter engage picks when you're running these melee heavy comps that are really short range. Only Senna has the infinite scaling range that's going to take a long time to scale up. Really have to work around so many these counter engage tools. Not only the Renata, but also those Taliyah rocks being laid down. Varus ultimate being very, very difficult to deal with when you're clumped up like that, and it can chain to your teammates. So Shopify gonna have to alter some of their setups here, and looks like Bugi is trying to get some deeper vision through some saplings as well as wards up through the red quadrant of the jungle. He actually canceled his recall here.
Yeah, well, I like the way Dignitas is now set up their solo lanes. You have Taliyah on Cassante, you have Gnar onto Garen, and Gnar can, a normal matchup that you normally see in the top side of the map. Gnar just kiting around the Garen, and you can have them both join TP for Rich and Weaver's Wall for Dove a little bit faster, as the rest of the team just holds mid, and we kind of hit a lull in the action as Drake will be spawning here soon.
That's what we're all looking forward to for the next big team fight. Honestly, as long as Dignitas have Rich charge up his Gnar bar beforehand this time around, and he's able to teleport in with a flash and Mega Gnar ready, they have a really good shot at putting a stop to this dragon stacking for Shopify Rebellion. They have super, super good engage for themselves. And as long as they can manage that Gnar bar, which actually is now timing out for Rich. So he's going to be exhausted and be mini for a little bit longer. If Shopify take this chance, and they just force it right now while it's another mini Gnar for Rich.
Yeah. Rich hasn't been able to line that one up yet. And it looks like Dignitas trying to slow it down, but FakeGod saying go with the TP into the mid lane. River Brush now TP coming on in by Rich. Infernal Drake getting down to 4,000 gold. eXyu goes on in, maybe a little bit early. Force flash on back, gets the smite. And Dignitas pick up their first Drake, but here comes the fight. Spinning to win is insanity. The chef is cooking, but he does not get the kill. It's Filthy Frank Tomo picking up the kill. Dove picks up yet another one, and it's 3 kills heading on over to Dignitas.
Oh, and they're not done yet either. They can push right down mid, go get that outer turret on top side of the mad Dignitas. This is so big for them. Even though Rich is coming in exhausted, the big team fight is so, so nice for them. With, again, that counter engage setup that they have. They kite back, and they even get the bailout here with the Renata W so they don't lose anyone. Here's another look at it. Shopify Rebellion trying to force on this timing right now. They throw out the Maokai ultimate, but eXyu keeps his head cool. He flashes over and then is still able to get the smite. They get the first kill again onto FakeGod, and then bailout nicely timed onto eXyu so that they barely get it. They get the kill onto Insanity. Bail him out, and nobody goes down. Rich was able to keep the 2 ranged members of the opponents down by Dragon Pit as well. Really good setup there from Dignitas.
Yeah, and on that replay, I was watching BVOY. I was like, hey, where's the early damage? He's busy stacking onto the Drake, and by the time the call to start the fight happened, hostile takeover by Isles yet again gets him hitting Zeyzal, and they took such a long time to get over there, get the initial damage. And then once the fight started, Dove did a great job zoning off this aggressive bot lane of Shopify. So Dig fighting these team fights out well, and Shopify, we said it in the last fight, they got to figure out how they want to do it.
All right, Bugi getting chased out, forced to flash.
Yeah, backing on off. eXyu gets caught by the snare, Senna getting themselves out to safety, but Shopify feel very uncomfortable in these fights, and Dignitas feels good just walking forward. Even that last Drake fight, no rage bar, as we said.
Yeah, Dig have been really good at kiting backwards and kind of drawing them into these nice little pockets where they can get high value out of Renata ultimate. Now they're going to be themselves the ones to start up the Baron, see if they can draw Shopify over again.
And this is tough. One thing that has been pretty good by Dignitas so far has been the vision control around objectives. It was Shopify that needed to go down into the Drake to clear that one out. Now they're trying to work their way up on towards the Baron. Ward has been placed, but now a control ward blocks off a lot of the vision, so Insanity has to be there to see the HP of the Baron. Bugi looking to go on over the wall. Nature's Grasp from behind. eXyu blocks it off. Isles is safe. Dove is not. Gets caught on out. Staying alive for a little bit longer. The damage doesn't come down. Rich with the Gnar over the wall onto Zeyzal and takes down one. Distance with the arrows. Tomo trying to close out Insanity, and the chef will cook and get himself out to safety. The Baron stays still chunked, and they will continue to leash it. Does Dignitas.
Oh my goodness. Isles again with the Renata ultimate. He peeled Dove to keep Dove alive. Now they're going for the smite.
Dove with a shove onto Insanity. Bugi getting zoned on out. Onto the back line. The all-out takes Tomo out. Tomo flashes back on in. FakeGod trying to kill him from over the wall. Flashes over the wall. And the bailout will not save him. FakeGod takes him down, but the Baron got thrown over to Dignitas. Insanity forced to run away. Bugi has no friends left. And Isles lives with just a sliver of health. It's Dignitas with 2 kills and the Baron.
Oh my goodness. And Rich does such a good job chasing Bugi away, so there was no smite fight there from Shopify. Bugi was forced to run away from the Gnar. He can't get in there. Then FakeGod trying to get the ultimate onto Bugi to get him out, but then got Tomo. But then it's getting crazy over here. Let's take another look, because there are 3 parts to this fight.
Yeah.
Dove hiding on the little banana brush here of the other side, gets the shove combo onto Insanity. On the right side, you see Rich chasing off Bugi, that smite. Meanwhile, eXyu is still in the pit, so Tomo flashes back in to try and help DPS the Baron, but because there are more people behind Baron, you get the Baron back spikes with stun and delay it a little, and then FakeGod jumps back in there, finally gets that kill onto Tomo, and they're able to chase the rest of them off. Dove here, running circles, but Isle survived on like 50 HP or so before the Triumph heal.
Yeah, Dove and Rich have done a very good job. As you said, a lot of these fights have been multi-pronged fights. Dove and Rich individually throughout multiple different fights have done a good job isolating out one of the damage sources for Shopify. And it's really allowed Tomo to dish out damage, eXyu to be in front, and Isles to put the CC where it needs to be at.
Yeah, and I have to highlight this item right here, this Frozen Heart, is doing so much work for this team, because already the low DPS comp there with Shopify Rebellion is greatly reduced by that Frozen Heart attack speed debuff aura. Since Maokai is full tank, you know, it's working wonders against the Garen, the Kalista, and even the Senna if you can get in range of the Senna. And it's just making these Dignitas fights look so good for them. In addition to all the area control that they have, allowing them now a 4-1 split push. Rich is fine off there in solo land, and there we go. They're gonna get right up to the tower with Taliyah ult.
Big TP coming on in by FakeGod. Will try to find the good flank angle, but it's, yet again, good vision by Dig, so they're aware of this. eXyu goes forward onto Insanity. Nature's Grasp by Bugi is going to hit multiple members, but The damage has been stopped. Rich, again, doing his job. He's the bodyguard. No one getting close to my boy Tomo to allow him to dish out the damage. The Baron-empowered minions to go on over to the tower, and Shopify use one of their tools to get on in. Now the tower is the next in the eyes of Dignitas. The shove backwards onto Insanity spells bad for the chef. He's forced to back on off. As yet again, more damage being put on in. Bugi has to go on in as he gets caught out. The hostile takeover makes sure the back line can't do too much. Rich now trying to zone out BVOY while Tomo is free firing onto FakeGod. And they are forcing everyone from Shopify back. Insanity goes in, goes back on out, and the minions now, still empowered, are now pumping damage onto the turret. The turret goes down in front of the Nexus. There's one, maybe the second is FakeGod and Insanity trying to make a Dignitas sandwich. Where's the damage going to come from? Keep your eyes on BVOY's. Insanity goes on in, gets Demacian Justice onto the Sejuani. BVOY now isolating out Rich. Rich trying to get raged out, but he gets taken down. BVOY with 3 now, picks up a couple. It's Tomo and Isles, and they're stuck. Here comes the tree, putting him down. Tomo, gotta get cut down. BVOY with the triple. BVOY with the quadruple, traded out by the Varus. And it's bloody all over the place, Kobe.
It's a double KO to end it here with both AD carries going down. In the end, Shopify are down an inhibitor in the aftermath and down a tremendous amount of gold and item purchase power here. So certainly going to leave a mark. Dignitas making really strong push here towards the Nexus. But then Insanity starts it out. He just goes in with the Garen, gets the execution, gets the shutdown. The Sejuani is down, but BVOY then has so much room to play with the Kalista. Picks up 2 here on the chase, and they wait for the Maokai to come back out of the fountain with the extra speed. Gets the engage. Tomo still, though. So much work here.
Oh, yeah. The last couple autos.
The Blade of the Ruin King plus the Ginsu's Rage Blade doing a lot of work there, and then now he's also got the extra hybrid penetration from the Terminus. Just feels so nice. With all the attention that Dignitas paid to the bottom lane early on, you know, multiple jungle and mid lane roams down to that bottom lane.
Yep.
Trying to set themselves up to be the ones with the better on-hit AD carry down there is really paying dividends.
Oh, Dove using the Weaver's Wall onto BVOY. He was trying to make too much of a play, and now most of the damage here for Shopify Rebellion has a 40-second timeout, and Dignitas will rotate themselves down to the bottom lane. Oh, they're using the blast cone. That was
nice coordination there.
Yeah, everyone got over. Now FakeGod trying to buy a little bit of time. Dawning Shadows giving the shields over to Shopify. Where's the damage going to come from? Insanity trying to spin to win, but he gets frozen down and taken out by Tomo. FakeGod next on the menu, and it's 3 members down for Shopify. Dignitas with a comprehensive game defy the odds and find themselves a victory here in their 5th match of the season.
Little celebration on the steps, waiting for...
All right, and there's the ace. All right.
Little pad on the KDA, waiting for BVOY to welcome him back once again. And another big win here. Dignitas improved to 2 and 3 now, taking down Shopify Rebellion. Really good answers. The bottom lane doing so much work. That Varus and Renata early picks for Dignitas, the crux of their team comp, and then realizing that and in-game playing to it, getting that roaming mid laner, getting those early Sejuani and Taliyah plays down to the bottom side.
And remember, that's not how that early jungle thing started, right? It was the Maokai the one going to go steal the blue away from eXyu. So great job by eXyu staying in the game and finding a way to get his bot lane rolling.
Yeah, really good job there. The answer, trying to cover bottom lane, not letting them split the map.
You know, Rich as well. He got soloed out early on, the 1v1 by FakeGod, but eventually they figured out their jobs, and this was a very cool win by Dignitas because it was clear what their roles were. Dove, hey, dish out some damage, but bodyguard here for your AD carry. Same thing with Rich, and this is something that's been, I feel like, missing from this Dignitas squad. You wanted to see some coordination. We're headed for a short break, but Meech and Sniper take on FlyQuest, or before Meech and Sniper take on FlyQuest, but first, let's see how these rookies stack up 1v1. Let's take a look.
It is 1v1 time. We got some new faces here. We have Sniper versus Meech, and it's a little different here in 2024, where the LCS Discord has decided what you're going to be 1v1ing. Oh. So they've decided on a Hui mirror. Have either of you played Hui?
Never in my life.
Never.
First time ever? Okay, we're gonna do one quick veto then. The other top suggestion, it's a reverse main matchup, so Kalista Riven, but it's reversed. So you have to play Riven and you have to play Kalista. Is that or Hui mirror? What do you prefer?
Let's do Kalista Riven. That's like way more fun, no?
All right, so
Alright, sure.
pick the champions and let's load up.
Wait, there's no exhaust in this. What the heck?
No coward summoner spells.
Oh, no coward summoner spell? I mean, it's like so unplayable playing against Riven without exhaust, but it's fine.
Sniper, what's your confidence level that you'll win?
I mean, he's playing Riven, you know, like the most broken champion in the game, but I mean, I'm like better mechanically than Meech, you know, in my personal opinion, so it's gonna go to me.
Meech, thoughts?
I mean, I think I'll win, but he has the champ advantage, so we'll see.
I got the champion advantage, bro. You're playing Riven, man. Just go flash ignite. Wait, yeah, Meech. I know you're choosing me, bro. Look at you, man. Oh, you just messed up, by the way. Wait, I don't have ignite. Woo! Oh, dog. Oh, I gotta play safe. Oh, you're dead, bro.
No! Oh my God!
So boosted, by the way. Holy crap, I need a permaban. Oh my god.
Dang, bro.
How do I lose that? I was first with 2 kills. No, just FF. Kalista doesn't scale. I'm doing so much damage to you. What was that? I don't even know.
What?
Bro. Oh, you're gonna hit 6 soon. Oh, you're already 6. What am I saying? Bro, okay, you're like such a sweat, by the way. Like,
Bro,
nah, I'm actually so trash at the champion. I don't know how, like,
you suck.
I don't know.
You should have given him Riven.
Well, Meech,
Honestly.
we can do that. We can do that in the rematch. Thanks for joining me, Meech, Sniper. Thanks for joining us once again for the 1v1, and that's it from me.
Thanks.
And in the first game of LCS 2024, 100 Thieves reigns supreme. Sniper gets his first.
It felt super good to win, honestly. Like, you know the feeling when, like, you beat someone. The moment we won, I just looked at like the enemy team, saw how like this is like a little toxic, but like depressed they kind of look like, and then I was just like, that gave me so much energy, you know? It's like I was taking their soul.
When I got on stage, like, it just like all hit me, you know? Like, I'm really, yeah, I can't really describe it, I'd say, but it was definitely a crazy feeling.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Hello, I am here with the victorious AD carry Tomo after kind of a back and forth a little bit at the end. One thing I did want to start off by asking though, because you guys seemed to be very focused on getting your lane specifically ahead. You got first blood around like 8 minutes, revisited 11. Tell me about your early game plan going into this game.
Well, I think this game, just because we have Taliyah, she could impact the map a lot. So we knew that like after first base, you know, the 2v2 is kind of like even, but if we have our mid involved, it'll swing in favor for us.
Were you at all surprised as a team when you guys saw the Garen mid coming into the Taliyah?
Honestly, not really, because we scrimmed against SR before, and you know they like whipped out Zach mid on stage. So you know, going to the draft meeting against them, we knew that they were gonna post something weird, something strange that we haven't played against. But I think we planned well for it. So yeah.
In looking at when you are going up against a team like SR, like you said, what is it better? Is it better to focus on kind of like what you guys are drafting specifically and kind of ignore whatever they're doing, or just keep it in mind as a possibility?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I think this week especially, I think we are honing into like specific champs that we're super comfortable with, how to draft around them. So I think we're just playing our comfort, but as well, like we're drafting for what the enemy can prepare.
Since we've been on live patch, this is kind of our second week on patch, kind of figuring out what we want to play around. for Dignitas specifically, what kind of team do you guys think you are in terms of playstyle?
Yeah, I think we're a team that can honestly play through any lane. I think having Korean solo lane just means they're always going to be like really consistent, especially on stage. I think me and Niles are pretty good bot lane, honestly, I'd say. And yeah, I think Lawrence is good at, eXyu is good at facilitating for us. So I think we still have a long way to go, but I'm really excited with how we progress.
Yeah, I think you guys are off to a good start, especially kind of watching you in Champs Queue. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, and we will be getting right back into game soon.